My manipulative wife kept on giving toxic ultimatums after we got married, saying if I didn't walk the dog and do the dishes she would divorce me. So I called her bluff and now she's begging to get remarried. My wife and I have been together for 2 years total. We met in high school and I had a huge crush on her, so I asked her out. One thing though is while we were still in the talking stage, she would play lots of games, and act really petty sometimes. She would do small things like looking at other guys' instas while in front of me, but when we started dating all of those games stopped and I felt really good about our relationship. After we both graduated I got her pregnant, and because she comes from a religious family we decided to keep the baby. I also asked her to be my wife and she accepted. During our honeymoon is where a lot of things started to go wrong. We got into a huge fight over me still keeping in contact with my girl best friend from high school. She never really got along with her. This led to a huge conflict and we didn't talk for 2 days even though we were on our honeymoon. That's when she came up to me crying and gave me an ultimatum. She said that either I would choose between her or my girl best friend. My wife told me that she made her feel insecure and she didn't want me texting other women. Obviously without a second doubt I blocked her number and reassured my wife that I only had feelings for her, but that she also didn't need to make a big deal out of these types of things. When we moved in together to our new apartment after we got married, I noticed that my wife started to get a bit more lazy with a lot of things in her life. She started doing less chores around the house and was always asking me to do them, even though in the relationship I was the one that was working a job while she went to university to get her degree in environmental science. She also gained a bit of weight and started putting in less effort to her appearance when we would go out. These were all minor things, so I never brought them up, as to not make her feel bad or anything. One time I came home super tired from work and noticed that my wife was slightly sick. I made her some tea and soup, but she refused to drink the tea because it wasn't the specific type of mint tea that she wanted. She started to throw a fit about it and demanded that I go get her the specific type of mint tea that she wanted. I told her that because I already made her chamomile tea and that the nearest convenience store that would open at this time of night was miles away, I wouldn't get her mint tea. She seemed visibly very upset about this and gave me another ultimatum, said that if I didn't get her the mint tea then she would divorce me. So in the middle of the night I decided to go, and after an hour I returned with what she wanted. By then she was asleep and the next morning she said that she didn't remember saying any of that. Things cooled down for a while, but after that she decided to hit me with another ultimatum. We were at a family function, her side of the family, and I got into a huge argument with her brother regarding religion. He said that people that were roped or in war-torn countries were loved by God, but God deemed them worthy of that type of punishment. I told him that what he was saying was ridiculous and that he can stick his God deeming superiority where the sun doesn't shine, and I knew that I was being a bit harsh, but for some reason religious nutcases just enraged me. My wife found out about this argument and it caused tension between us the whole car ride back. At home she finally said that I needed to go apologize to her brother and say that I was wrong or else she was going to divorce me. I told her that I would apologize, but she had to stop giving ultimatums. She gave a lengthy explanation to why that wasn't an ultimatum and just basic respect, but that made no sense. I apologized to her brother distastefully, but my wife's demands didn't stop. She soon started giving me ultimatums on almost everything. I repeatedly asked her to stop, but I wasn't willing to potentially break up over small things. But that's when I finally broke. One day I got home incredibly tired from work and my wife said she was studying for an exam, and demanded that I take the dog out for the walk, then came back and do the dishes. I told her that I would do them tomorrow and she got mad because it was stressing her out more and that she already had a test. I countered and said no. I knew what she was about to do and I was not in the mood. She gave me the ultimatum and said that if I didn't do that then she would divorce me and would take our child. I told her fine and left to go stay at my friend's house. I think she thought I was joking, but I honestly didn't care. That next morning my phone had millions of missed calls and my wife and her family were non-stop texting me things. Her dad called and he angrily demanded that I meet up with him to talk man to man. Because I'm not a wimp, I'm going to go tell him the situation. My manipulative wife kept on giving toxic ultimatums after we got married and said if I didn't walk the dog and do the dishes she would divorce me. So I called her bluff and now she's begging to get remarried. Part 2. I went to meet with my father-in-law and he gave me the most twisted version of the story. He told me that I was making his daughter feel insecure by talking to other women and I wasn't helping raise the child and wasn't helping her out at all. I told him the real story, and although it took him a lot of convincing, eventually he realized I was telling the truth. We all met up and I brought a surprise to the meetup with my wife and her father. It was a divorce lawyer. My wife was begging me to reconsider and she even started crying. I decided to take her back because I did truly love her, but this should teach her to start to act better around me. Edit, for all of the people saying I'm toxic for calling out my wife's bluff, you probably will never find love.